harmonizing their efforts as well as benefit from his wisdom.
Your Excellency, sir, let me first of all congratulate Alhaji Mustafa Charles Kamara, who has recently been appointed as Minister for Presidential Affairs. Good luck. Colleagues, on behalf of His Excellency, I would like to welcome you all to this office. Like the Honorable Minister of Presidential Affairs have earlier alluded to, is about family meeting, thought based on the year that's just ended. We are taking stock of the achievements, the challenges that we faced in 2012, and see how best those challenges can be adequately addressed in 2013. It's about tightening our belts to ensure that those bars that we have, identified ourselves to deal with, we ensure that we meet those challenges, because we have set targets for ourselves for 2013. For those of us who were at the permanent secretaries and cabinet retreat, a lot of plans have been laid down for 2013. In view of that, it is the desire of His Excellency to ensure that there would not be any room for complacency. He is not going to accept, neither the team here will accept complacency from anybody, any institution, individually, collectively. So therefore, the onus is on you to ensure that you live up to expectation. As Secretary General, I would give all my full support to all the institutions under the growth of this office.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Honorable Minister of Presidential Affairs, Secretary General, Secretary to Cabinet, Permanent Secretaries, Managing Directors. First of all, I want to wish you a very happy and prosperous New Year, and to welcome you to this office. I think this is the first time we are having such a meeting as Office of the President. The reason being the fact that it is important that we all realize that we are under one office and working towards a common destination and working to achieve the same objectives that we set for ourselves. But as the Office of the President, some of you seem far removed from the Office of the President, and most of the time you are on your own, which modus operandum has to change. I intend to have, at my level, these meetings fortnightly. The reason being there's no way we're going to accept second-rate performance, lackadaisical attitude, or laissez-faire attitude, and we have to take our work and our leadership very seriously. That being the case, henceforth, we will be meeting with me fortnightly, but at the level of the Minister for Presidential Affairs, you will be meeting with him weekly. So anytime I see when people go around on familiarization tours and come to your area, you realize that there are a lot of constraints that you have which are not highlighted. Now, this is wrong in the first place, in the sense that you have a ministry and you are under an office. If you encounter constraints, you don't have to keep them to yourself. You have to bring them to the office so that we see how best we can resolve some of the constraints that you have. There are three things that that are unacceptable. You know what your responsibilities are and you know what your constraints are. Now, in the execution of your responsibilities, you are constrained by whatever reason, and most of the time it is about transport, or maybe you lack personnel. And you wait until somebody comes around for you to divulge that. Oh, we couldn't do this because of constraints of this and that. This time around it's unacceptable. If you have constraints, you better make sure that we know about them so that we do our best in order to solve the constraints. And they should be, as a matter of priority, you should prioritize them. There's no way we can solve all your constraints within a year. But I think the basic constraints that are that have to be solved in order for you to be able to function, things that are indispensable for you to be able to execute your functions efficiently, these are constraints that should be brought to our attention so that we can work towards addressing them. You go to offices and you find that junior staff work under conditions that are unacceptable. These are basic things that are not expensive that you could have taken care of. I don't think anybody would hold you to fault if you decide that certain chairs are unacceptable, desks are very old and dilapidated and you need to change them. As soon as a problem, a constraint comes up or develops, it is better to come up and help us so that we address it on time. You don't sit until the problem becomes deeply entrenched and difficult to solve, and then you start to blame for your non-performance on the constraint which is unacceptable. There are basic requirements, basic things that we really have to. Now also, with regards to each time a ministry is under the office of the president, most of the time you don't see the permanent secretary around. He stays cocooned in whatever ministry he is, unless he is contacted. That is wrong. The ministry being under the office of the president doesn't mean that the portfolio is vacant. Let me make that very clear. Any ministry that is under the office of the president know that automatically I am the minister, and then so you have to be dealing with the Secretary General and the Honorable Minister of Presidential Affairs on a daily basis, the way you deal with when the minister is there in your ministry. You also have departments that are under, I don't have to name them, but most of the time they talk about complaints, constraints for outsiders, constraints that they will never address to this office. This practice must stop. And on a daily basis, you'll have to be in touch with either the Minister for Presidential Affairs. In fact, you'll have to be briefing him. But more importantly is the fact that also you'll have weekly meetings with them. So whatever you plan